Hi everyone, I'm back. It's very tough for me to get time to make videos because I'm working shifts as an electrician. And I'm moving house. We just bought a house recently, and there's a lot of stuff happening. Yeah, it's just a lot of stuff. So I don't have a lot of time or place where I can make videos actually. So I'm making these at work sometimes. That's the only time I sometimes get time on night shifts to just make a quick video here and there. Well, I'm praying to YAHUAH to release me from this job so that I can focus on His things, His revelations that I keep receiving. I keep receiving new things, but I don't have time to make videos on these things. And it's sad because then a lot of these things that I got excited about when I received it, it fades. It fades a bit, but it's not my fault because I really don't have time to put it in video. But anyways, I want to look at do another second Exodus video. I find it interesting. I thought about that today again, and it's funny that these truth seekers and these people that goes down the rabbit holes of these days, I don't want to name names, but let's say they're on the cusp of the new ideas and revelations there is, like we are past the millennial kingdom and they're on the cusp of all this information. But when it comes to Israel and their territory, they just go blank, or they just go back to what they were taught. It's sad, they're not open-minded when it comes to who Israel is and where Israel is. But everything else, yes, they're open-minded, they receive good revelations on things. But as soon as you talk about who Israel is and where Israel is, they just go blank, or get angry maybe, or just get defensive, really. And I find it quite interesting because if you think about it, what is the greatest thing that must happen in our time, in our times? In this short season of deception, what's the greatest event? It's the second Exodus. And part of the second Exodus is the real Israelites. If you don't know who they are, it might be a problem for you. And also where they're supposed to go during the second Exodus. You need to know these two things. And that's why it's important. That's why it's important to know these things. Why it's important not to be defensive when you hear about new ideas of where Israel territory is or who Israelites are. It's important for them, the true Israelites, to know who they are and where they need to go in the future, because these events that's coming is going to be crazy and very, very bad. Very, very bad for Israel worldwide, the Western nations that are filled with Israelites. And the Bible tells us in the prophets that only a remnant of them will get saved in the end, will be allowed to go to the territory with the second Exodus where YAHUAH is going to gather them. Only, as the prophets say, a handful. Only a few. Well, a few as probably a few million, but still. If you consider how many people are there on the earth, and as I show in my videos that the white nations are Israel, well, most of them, in the Western world, that's going to get attacked soon by Gog and Magog, Gog of Magog. Yes, there are many of them, millions upon millions, but only a few million maybe will be saved in the end. And they need to know where to go. That's a fact. And that's what I'm showing in my videos, where these people are supposed to go. And I say this is the biggest event on YAHUAH's calendar in the short season of deception, because there is so much information in the Bible on this event. So much prophecies, so many chapters of just talking about the second Exodus. Really, there is a lot, even in the law. And that's what I'm going to look at today. I'm going to show you in the law itself that it's mentioned, the second Exodus. That's how important this is for YAHUAH. He even mentions it in his law. And we know in almost all the prophets it's mentioned. I've got videos on all of those prophecies. of all the prophets that talks about it, and it's just about all of them. And also now I have these verses in the law itself that also talks about it. So yes, for Yahuwah, this is very important subject, very important times. And you need to be on the ball. You need to know. You need to be open-minded now. This is the time to be open-minded. So you can receive these revelations and run with it. Go share it with your brothers and sisters. Anyways, let's start Deuteronomy 30. This talks about the second Exodus. Now it shall come to pass, when all these things come upon you, the blessings and the curse which I have set before you, and you call them to mind among all the nations where Yahuwah your Elohim will drive you. At the moment, this has happened. All of Israel, Israel, has been driven out to all the nations across the earth. And you return to Yahweh your Elohim and obey his voice according to all that I commanded you, and you and your children, with all your heart and with all your soul. You see, if they return to Yahweh's commandments, then things is going to change. That Yahuwah your Elohim will bring you back from captivity and have compassion on you. This is the second Exodus, people. He will bring them back from captivity. At the moment, we are all captives in the respective countries where we are residing now. You are a captive. You are a slave. You are a slave in your government. They're taxing you to death. They're making life horrible for you. You're a slave. You don't want to admit it, but you are a slave. You're in captivity today. And it says here that Yahuwah, your Elohim, will bring you out of the system we are in now, this captivity system, and have compassion on you if you keep his commandments and you teach your children to do the same, and gather you again from all the nations where Yahuwah, your Elohim, has scattered you. When he's gathering you, when you teach your children to keep the commands as you do yourself, then you can be the remnant. Then Yahuwah can gather you with the second Exodus, which is around the corner, people. It's not 20 years in the future. I'm talking about within 10 years. Within 10 years. Even less, I think within 5 years. Well, this is going to be a process, of course, of the gathering of maybe 5 to 10 years. But still, this is now. This is now. You need to keep the commandments now. You need to teach your children now to keep the commandments, so that you can be considered as part of this remnant, and Yahuwah can lead you to the bottom part of Africa, to South Africa in the future when it's time for you to go. If any of you are driven out of the farthest parts under heaven, from there Yahuwah your Elohim will gather you, and from there he will bring you. You see, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you keep his commandments, you teach your children to do the same with all your heart and soul, you do these things, then doesn't matter where you are, New Zealand, Canada, Iceland, Greenland, wherever, Yahuwah sees you and he can gather you in the right place. Then Yahuwah your Elohim will bring you to the land which your fathers possessed. Where is he going to bring you? To the original Israel. It's not in Palestine. That's why I'm doing these videos, to show you not to go to Palestine. That's not the land of milk and honey. That's not Canaan. You need to go to the right place. According to prophecy, it is in South Africa where they're going to gather at first. And after that, after Yahuwah makes this covenant with them, which I'm going to mention later, then you are allowed to move back up, just above South Africa, into the promised land, which is up to the equator. And you shall possess it. You see, Yahuwah will give that territory back to the white nations of Israel, the remnant that he's going to gather. He's going to give them back their possession of Canaan, the land of milk and honey, which is up to the equator. He will prosper you and multiply you more than your fathers. He's referring here to the first Exodus, when the people were very blessed when they moved into Canaan. He says that he will bless us now who are gathered. I don't know if I'm going to be gathered, but I'm just saying us. He's going to bless us and prosper us even more than the original Israelites who were the first Exodus, who moved into Canaan. And Yahuwah your Elohim will circumcise your heart and the hearts of your descendants, to love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, that you may live. This circumcising the heart, it refers to this covenant that Yahweh will make with only the Israel remnant. Not with all Christians, not with the whole world, not with all the believers. I know everybody likes to quote this verse when it talks about the new covenant, but it's not referring to everyone. Go read this whole chapter. It talks about the second Exodus event. This is when this covenant is going to be made with the house of Israel, the remnant. It says here, there is hope in the future, says Yahweh, that your children shall come back to their own border. This is the second Exodus. This chapter talks about the second Exodus. This refers to Ephraim. If you read just above there, it talks about Yahweh having mercy on Ephraim. It's the 10.5 tribes which is going to gather in South Africa. But it talks here about Judah too. He's going to gather all of them, 12, 13 tribes. Let's see the covenant. Behold, the days are coming, says Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Who is he talking about? The second Exodus people who gathered. It is Israel, the 10.5 tribes and 2.5 tribes of Judah, that's going to come together in one place, which is the second Exodus. And then, what's going to happen then? Yahweh is going to make a new covenant with only them. Not all Christians, only them. And it says here what this entails. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt. He says, he refers to the second Exodus because here he refers to the first Exodus, when he made a covenant with the first Israelites. And he says, now with the second group of Israelites he's going together, with the second Exodus, he's going to make a new covenant. My covenant which they broke, though I was a husband to them, says Yahweh. So this covenant entails Yahuwah marrying the Israel remnant again. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yahweh is going to gather his Israel remnant and he's going to marry them. Because this refers to him being a husband. He made that covenant with Israel, with the first Exodus, and he considered himself their husband. Now it's going to happen again because he divorced Israel. He divorced them and kicked them out of his land of milk and honey. Now they spread all over the earth. And when he regathers them, now that Yahushua died for our lawlessness, Yahuwah can, or Yahushua, if you want to consider that, remarry us again. We can become his bride again. And that's going to happen with the Israel remnant, only with them. But this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel, and you can say the house of Judah, after those days. Says Yahweh, I will put my law in their minds and write it on their hearts, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people, they shall be my bride. He will put his laws in their minds and hearts. You don't have to read your Bible then, because you will know everything. He's going to put it in your mind. You're going to get a download of his laws in your mind. You will just know everything. And you will desire to do it. That's when it's on your heart. You desire to do it. You desire to do what's in your mind. So this hasn't happened to anybody yet, and it will never happen to anybody until after the second Exodus, when with only the Israel remnant this will happen. This is not going to happen with anyone else. Receiving his laws on their minds and hearts. That's how special this is. So this, as you can see, is talking about the second Exodus. These Deuteronomy 30 verses. And Yahweh, your Elohim, will put all these curses on your enemies and on those who hate you, who persecuted you. When you're removed from out these nations, from amongst these nations, Yahuwah is going to curse those nations, and is going to be curses and bad times for those people who persecuted you. When you are removed from amongst them to South Africa, to gather there, to make a covenant with Yahweh again, when he remarries Israel remnant, And then you can move into the promised land where you're not a slave anymore. You're not a slave anymore. Wouldn't that be awesome? You're not going to be taxed to death anymore. I want to be there. I don't think I'm going to be there. Maybe I'm going to be dead before then. But who knows? We don't know the future. Yahuwah only He knows. Let's see here what else it says. I just want to check where I ended before I went to Jeremiah 31. And Yahweh your enemy will circumcise your heart and the hearts of your descendants, to love Yahweh of all your heart, soul, and mind, that you may live. And Yahweh will bring you to the land which your fathers possessed. Yes, okay. And you will again obey the voice of Yahweh and do all His commandments which I command you today. You see, to qualify, you need to keep the commandments. There's a reason so many people today start returning to Yahuwah's commands and obeys it. There's a reason, because it is time. It is time for Israel remnant to obey His commands. Are you one of those Israel remnant? Then you must start obeying His commands. Stop listening to the false preachers in your church, who only get paid to preach lies. If he tells you the truth, he loses his job. He loses 4 to 7 years of studying to become a preacher. Would he tell you the truth if he's going to lose 7 years of studying? Of course not. You're not going to hear truth from your churches. And you will again obey the voice, yes, and Yahweh your Elohim will make you abound in all the work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, in the increase of your livestock, in the produce of your land for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over you for good, as He rejoiced over your fathers. Why? Because it's a second Exodus, like the first Exodus. Yahweh rejoiced over His Israel with the first Exodus, after the first Exodus, and now He refers to the second Exodus. If you obey the voice of Yahweh Elohim to keep His commandments and His statutes, which was written in the book of the law, which are written in the book of the law, and if you turn to Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. You see, He keeps repeating this. Keep Yahweh's commands with all your heart and soul. Teach it to your children to obey. You need to do this, people, if you want to be part of this Israel remnant. It's imperative that you do it. So this is the video that I wanted to make today, to show you that even in the law, it shows you the second Exodus. That's how big this event is for Yahuwah. And this is the times we are living in now. We are awaiting the gathering of this Israel remnant to one location, as I show in my videos. It's in South Africa. To gather them there, and then He makes a new covenant with them, as we read in Jeremiah 31, only with them, where He remarries them and writes His commands on their hearts, but also places it in their minds. That's going to be amazing. There's a reason He's doing that. I mentioned this in one of my videos. What is the purpose of Israel after the second Exodus? I have a video on that if you are interested. But I tell you there why He's writing it on their minds and hearts. There's a reason for that. Go watch that video. You'll see why. But yeah, it's just I'm grateful for receiving these revelations. It's amazing. I know nobody else has it, but I'm not being prideful. It's just this is all from Yahuwah anyway. It's not from me. Everything I mention here, every video I make, is revelations from Yahuwah Himself through His Spirit. He teaches me or shows me things or reveals things to me or send people across my road to mention something, and then I go look it up and it's another revelation. It's just amazing how whoever works things out to keep the revelations keep coming in. Because there's sometimes when I think that there can't be anything else I can think of to talk about, new revelation wise, with where Israel is and so on. But then Yahweh always surprises me with something new. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I get more time to make videos. Yahweh willing, He will release me from what I'm doing at the moment with my work and everything, so I can focus more on these things. I always wanted to do this, but it's up to Yahuwah. And blessings to you all. I will talk again the next time. And there's some things I'm working out still. Another big video that I want to make about exposing the fake Israel. This time I want to expose the fake territory and make a few videos on that, because I previously showed where the true Israel is, Canaan, the land of milk and honey. I think it's now time I focus on the fake one and show that it's fake from scripture. So, okay, enjoy your day, bye.